Call me old man Wade.
Damn you, old man!
Wait.
Old ass man.
Shut up, old man. You smell like fart.
No!
Old man.
He's so old, he got a podcast on cassette.
Fuck, you're old.
Damn it, Wade.
And welcome to the Old Man Wade Show. I am your host, the God of Stub and the Lord of Laughter, Old Man Wade. I'm sitting here with the pinnacle of political perfection, the superior Supa Woke Javi.
What up, everybody?
Oh yeah, man. It's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks. So
Anything interesting happened?
So here's a question: do we
Yeah.
start with something goofy, or do we get right into the seriousness?
Given the docket, I would probably start with something goofy first.
All right. Random thing that popped in my head. I think I may be the only person on earth who doesn't like Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't sit down and watch Bob's Burgers. Like, that's more my wife's thing. But when I do, I thoroughly enjoy it. Like, it's good. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't think of anything bad about Bob's Burgers.
It's just like it's just all right. So I remember I got high as shit once and I watched it and I enjoyed it. I tried watching it sober and I was bored to tears. And the funny thing about it is I like everything that's involved with the characters. Like I actually like the characters. I like the writing, but just all of it together for some reason I just watch it and I'm bored to fucking tears. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool.
What episode was it that you watched that you done?
All of them. Like,
I mean,
I'll randomly put them on and I'm just like bored.
like every single episode?
For the most part, yeah.
You know what? It's kind of dry humor, right? Like, the humor's kind of dry.
But I like dry
There's a
humor.
lot. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, do you not like Sunny Days? Do you not like the sweet, warm flavor of an apple pie with ice cream on a hot day? Like, do you not like love the kiss of your heart's content? Right? Like, do you just hate good things? And if that's
Profound sadness.
like, yo, saying you don't like Bob's Burgers is just like saying you don't like puppies and
That's fine.
kittens
That's fine.
and warm blankets. It's a wholesome show, man. Yeah, it's wholesome. It's wholesome and funny.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just don't like the wholesomeness of it. But I like wholesome shows. But just something about that just didn't like.
I think you need. Oh, go ahead.
It just didn't really grab me.
You're crazy, bro. Me and the wife cosplayed as Bob's Burgers one year, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I did it for her. I don't watch the show. I can't defend it.
Yeah, you're trying really hard though, which is fucking hysterical to me.
No, because I've watched it again because my wife likes it, and every time I've watched it, like, I've enjoyed it. But at the same time, it's not like compelling to me. Like, maybe it's because there's really no, like, it's episodic, right? Like, do you not like episodic content? Do you need your
because
shows
I enjoy
to have,
Family Guy. I enjoy Married with Children. I enjoy 30 Rock. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Man.
What's the guy, the actor?
John C. Benjamin.
Yeah,
John
Benjamin.
John Benjamin, one of the two.
I don't know. I think there's nothing he's ever been on. I'm talking like Frisky Dingo, I believe. Frisky Dingo, Archer.
I love those shows.
Like, everything he's been on, like, I've enjoyed, and I know I've talked to you about
Aqua Teen,
like,
Hunger Force.
most of those shows.
It's fucking great. And again, I like the characters. I love Bob. Bob is fucking great. But just all of them together, I'm just kind of like, eh.
You know what? You claim. Okay, let me say this. Not you. You don't. But you claim that you don't like children. So, I mean, do you not like the kids on the show? Like,
Louise annoys me. What the hell is the oldest one's name?
not Tina. It's
Tina.
Tina. Yep.
Tina annoys me, but I love their son. He cracks me the fuck up.
He's hilarious, bro. And Tina's great. Tina's the best dancer of all time.
Yeah, butts.
You're see, you reference, bro. You like the show. I don't know what to tell you. I think you like the show. You just you believe you don't like it. You've been hypnotized to think you don't like Bob's Burgers.
I've been hypnotized. Shut the
And that's crazy. Like, how do you not? Who is this? Anybody listening right now? Yo, send a message to old man telling him he's crazy for not liking Bob's Burgers. That's crazy.
That's fine by me. Absolutely
nuts.
fine by me. So
I'm judging you. I'm judging you for that take.
All right. So you know what? Let's get into this because it's gotta happen. Texas going Texas.
Yeah.
Is there any other way to say it?
I mean, you're asking me that. I could definitely say there's plenty of ways to say it.
Go on. Say it.
I mean, do you want to talk? Do you want to tell the audience what we're talking about?
So Texas, and you can inform me or correct me if I'm wrong, has passed a bill, or is passing a bill that says abortions will be legal after 6 weeks. For those that don't know, 6 weeks is a month and a half. A lot of the criticism has come because there are plenty of women who don't know they're pregnant until after 6 weeks. So the female body doesn't necessarily work the way that these lawmakers think it does. We have assholes saying shit like, and I quote, "After 6 weeks, you can still get an abortion for 6. You can still get an abortion for 6 weeks. Calm down, broads. You still have 6 weeks to decide your life is more important than anyone else's." This person then follows up by saying, "And spare me the many women don't know they're pregnant for 6 weeks. Whores. Only whores wouldn't know for 6 weeks." So this person's name, and I'm gonna say it because fuck this guy, Josh Denny. Fuck that guy for saying that nasty shit. Who apparently has no idea how the human body works. Excuse me, how the woman's body works. And even if you don't, who the fuck are you to call them whores just because you have a difference of opinion on something like that? That's nasty, and you can go fuck yourself.
But that guy has a very intense opinion about this, doesn't he?
Yeah. Then
yeah,
my favorite
that's
part
extreme.
My favorite part about it was some Ding-A-Ling head said, actually, God is the least... Oh, no, someone was talking about how God is, like, very pro-life. And this dude cracked me up.
Has he read the Bible?
So someone commented and goes, actually, God is the least pro-life character in the Bible.
God's aborted a lot of grown-ass adults.
Yeah.
Was that in poor taste? Sorry.
I don't give a fuck. But like, yeah, that shit in Texas is nasty. Did I get it correctly? Has the law been passed, or is it still in the voting stages?
No, it's passed. It was signed into law, and it's actually been brought to the Supreme Court in what they call their shadow docket. So the shadow docket is essentially cases that need to be heard sooner than later. Doesn't have the same amount of deliberation as a normal case would going to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court decided that they don't have the authority to block the law as is. So that's where we are right now. The Supreme Court didn't actually give their blessing to the law, so it still can be challenged. The issue is with this Supreme Court, their decision is based on the fact that the law hasn't been applied yet. So they feel that since the law hasn't been applied yet, they don't have the authority to block it. So it needs to be applied, and then somebody has to challenge it after its application, and then they'll rehear it.
Okay.
And then they'll decide whether or not it's constitutional. But with that being said, what they've done is effectively allowed that law to pass, which effectively makes it impossible for women in Texas to have abortions after 6 weeks or after a fetal. I'm going to put this in quotation marks, even though you guys can't see it. Effectively blocking abortions after a fetal heartbeat can be detected, which happens usually by about 6 weeks. So yeah, that's the facts on the ground. What makes this different is that most times when this happens, the Supreme Court mostly doesn't have a choice but to block these laws because it's illegal to ban abortions due to Roe v. Wade, or it's illegal for state officials to enforce abortion bans due to Roe v. Wade. But what this Texas law does, it actually prevents the state of Texas from banning abortions or enforcing this law. So no government officials are actually involved in enforcing this law. What they actually did was empower individual citizens to sue not the mother or not the woman getting the abortion, but anybody that's quote unquote aiding and abetting an abortion. So that's anybody that drives a woman to an abortion clinic, gives a woman money for an abortion, and most importantly, any facilities that that perform the abortions after 6 weeks. And since these are individuals,
this is some nasty shit.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy. It's ingenious. It's almost like
ingenious.
A comic book villain kind of like came up with this.
Yeah, this is some
and it has wide ranging implications. Like if this allows to go through, like if this is allowed to go through, this can affect a lot of things actually.
Well, I know didn't something similar happen in Atlanta a year or two ago?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that specifically, but I do know Georgia included, and a number of Republican-led states. Again, they've been trying to chip away at Roe v. Wade for years. This is just the most successful attempt for multiple reasons. Again, it's the way the law was structured, and also the composition of the Supreme Court. You know, it's 6-3 conservative liberals on the court right now, which again proves again and again why presidential elections are important. But hey, what can you do? You know.
Yeah. So looking it up now, the Georgia laws is between 12 and 22 weeks.
Yeah. So there's a lot of laws on the books right now. So that are being challenged. And the Texas law actually right now is there's a number of challenges to that law working its way through the Texas courts. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not the end of this in any way, in any shape or form. But again, the issue is at this moment, you know, women, the rights that women had to decide what happens to their bodies has essentially been stripped away when it comes to abortions.
Yeah, a bunch of a bunch of fucking white men trying to tell women what they can and can't do with their bodies.
It's not just white men. I hear this a lot. I get it, and I get that argument, but just trust me, there's plenty of of women as well that are against abortion, and again, it's complicated. Like I stay away from this discussion online for many reasons, but if you know, polling for years shows that the majority of Americans, even though I think a strong majority believe that abortion should be legal, that same majority also believes that abortions should have restrictions. Even Roe v. Wade only allows abortions up until the end of the second trimester, which is even goes further than what most Americans deem appropriate for abortion. This is not my opinion. This is public polling. So, I understand like people want to think that this is just something that like super Christian white men want to do, but
that's literally been their reasoning behind it. Is because like when you hear these people talking, it's like, oh, it's because God had said this and God had said that. It's like, dog, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is the majority, and I'm not even talking about just now, but the majority of the people who are the most, the people who are the most vocal about this are usually the ones who are speaking up, talking about it's God's will, and it's against God, and it's against God and this. It's like, dude, shut all the way the fuck up with that.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
But you're also right in a sense where it's like, it's not just white men that are doing this, and there are a lot of women, and I'm pretty sure there are some people of color who feel this way because white men aren't the only religious people out here saying this dumb shit. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people of color, tend to have conservative views when it comes to to even abortion. The issue is, I think, that at the same time, people of color and poor communities are the ones that are mostly affected by these laws. Because even if they get rid of Roe v. Wade, abortion is still going to be legal in a number of states, right? The issue is going to be certain states, they're going to ban it. Like, this is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario would be like all abortion illegal everywhere. But
the worst case
most
scenario
likely
was Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, I see those memes a lot too.
Well,
I'm not going to comment on that.
I'm just going to say this. One of the reasons I don't watch Handmaid's Tale because that shit seems way too close to reality, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm cool. Like, I'm all set. That shit just made me too angry for words. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to stay the fuck away.
Yeah, I mean, again, yo, you said it earlier. Like, the loudest people tend to be the ones on the extreme fringes, right? And that's on both sides, man. Like,
I agree.
There's definitely, like, it's happened. I think now we need to figure out strategies to kind of prevent it from going any further or reversing. And I don't know how we're going to do that if, people aren't even talking to each other. I'm not trying to put light to the situation. I'm just saying, like, I've been very consistent, right? Like, like a lot of this stuff could be prevented. It's just that we need to really sit and start thinking about real solutions, right? Like people go online and they kind of like, they become so cynical and they think that nothing can be changed when, this is somewhat a democracy. Like, and we have power. We just need to figure out ways to use it and to figure out ways to empower people that are disenfranchised, right? And we need to do that by voting and paying attention.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, people just don't necessarily understand the power that they hold and, like, the strength in numbers and something that you bring up on a regular basis. The idea of voting and how important that is to vote in your local election, so you know the people who you're putting in power. The presidential election is like the prom, like, you know what I mean. But you also got to remember, like, we'll look at it like this. Excuse me. The presidential elections may be like the MVP of elections, but that doesn't mean but you still need your key players. Like, Michael Jordan isn't beating 5 other players on his own. Like, you know what I mean? So you know what I mean? And even if that's the case, like, the best player isn't going to beat the best team. Like, you know what I mean? So so COVID is a prime example of this. When Fuckboy was talking about he's opening everything up and doing all this other stuff, and Massachusetts was like, no. It was like, nah, bro, we're not doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So with situations like that, and even just the idea of marching, protesting, and for those of you who don't march and protest, if you have a platform to use, like speaking up and using whatever privilege or power you have to speak up for these things do matter. Because you can change somebody's mind with even like the simplest or even the most complex like quote, or just the proper like link that actually gives people the right information and things can help. So it's not so to your point again, we aren't powerless in this situation. And when someone goes, well, all you did is post something on social media, you never know whose mind you're gonna change. You know what I mean? Or the chain reaction that's going to be set by something as simple as posting something with some kindness or some kind of heart towards, or like just or just saying that you may not understand what someone's going through, but I'm here with you. Especially for the people who haven't watched it, What If is a perfect example of this. How one situation in something as simple as going left and you could go right can change the entire course of history. So we the people do have the power, and that's something I think that general citizens and people in the world don't necessarily remember, because sometimes it does seem bleak, and you're right, we do get really cynical and say, what's the point? And I think it's kind of like almost like nihilism, when you're just kind of like, what's the point when we're all going to die anyway kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those memes can be funny and all, but like realistically, there is something you can do. Like, even something is and we've talked about this on the show a million times. We'll talk about it a million times more. giving up your seat for somebody can change someone's attitude about how they may feel about what someone looks like. They may say, hey, this person may hate every black person in the world, but then they come across me and I get up and I give a seat to a pregnant woman, and that could drastically change the way they think about something. My tattoo artist is Republican, but he's damn sure one of the guys who's been like, yo, mask the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So for someone to say it's all Republicans, it's not. You know what I mean? Like so there's ways around. There's ways to get your voice out there. There's ways to talk about the things that need to be said and create action, and so it's important. You know what I mean? And I think that part of the problem is we fall into this hole of hopelessness that is very difficult to get out of, because it does seem like there's like what else can I do? Like, I'm here, I'm stuck, and that's all she wrote. It's a difficult place to get out of, but it's definitely possible.
It is, and I think, I want to spread as much blame as I can because that's what I do. And it's like, even if you have the best of intentions, like even if you're totally against this law in Texas and you're totally pro-choice, like, you're not doing any good by spreading misinformation.
I agree.
And the best way you can avoid that is, again, by either educating yourself or just not speaking, right? Like not speaking as loud as some other people are, especially if you're not fully educated on what's happening.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's not helpful, man. Like,
it's dangerous. It's not even just, not only is it not helpful, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think more
the law is complicated. I'm not talking about this law. I'm talking about the law in general. Like,
the law in general, some things are very straightforward, but I also agree with you in the sense that, like, some things that you can definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? There are certain things that you definitely know are simple. Like, actually, no, in general. Like, you'd assume that murder would be simple, but it's not, because there's premeditated murder, there's manslaughter, like, so on and so forth. So the law in general is just, it's difficult, but I also feel that with the right education, and not the right education, with the right research, you can actually find the things, and you can find the appropriate information needed to get the right answer. Not the answer you want, but the right answer. And that's another thing. There's a skit called What If Google Was a Guy? And someone goes up and goes, vaccines cause autism? And then he goes, I have a big stack that says they don't, and I have this one that says I do. And the woman snatches it out and goes, I knew it. And Google goes, just because I have it doesn't mean that it's true.
That's a very apt example of exactly what happens, man. It's like, what's it called? Confirmation bias. I think that's another part of it. Like, we tend to agree with things that we find that reinforce our prior beliefs. Right? So if you already believe, again, that, like, say, life begins at conception, right? Which a lot of these people who are, at least people on the extreme ends of the anti-abortion argument, believe that life begins at the minute you bust a nut, right? Like, life. When they go online,
Mama said never stop until I bust a nut.
Exactly. If they go online, they're only gonna listen to the arguments that reinforce that belief, right? Even though
I saw this.
The majority of science says that's not the case.
I saw this one comic, and it was probably one of the most brilliant ones I've seen. It was this guy walking out of a Jack Shack, and it was a bunch of women going, "Masturbation is death. You've just killed like 8 billion people by like." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. If you want to be real about it, y'all are talking about it begins at conception. Every time you nut." Oh, what was the one I seen?
Thanos has nothing on me, bro.
What was it? Doug, I'm Captain Vasectomy, so you know how I roll. But then there was another one that said erectile dysfunction is God's will, so let's ban Viagra. And I'm like, another fair point. If that's what y'all are doing, keep that same energy.
Keep that same energy, man.
For real, I fucking love it. And I love a lot of the. Actually, I love all the women that I see standing up and saying that shit, because it's like, fuck y'all. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all are fucking around with their bodies. It's like, I'd feel a certain way if someone was telling me what I could and couldn't do with my body. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, someone told me, hey, you can't jack off. Nigga, that's how I fall asleep sometimes.
Yo, that's a stress. Yo, that's the original anti-anxiety pill.
Yeah. People, like, we've seen how it is, man. Like, this country hates women. It's wild, man. It is fucking wild. Oh, what was it? The fact that, postpartum depression hasn't really been a recognized thing for that long, or how they used to tell women if they masturbate, that would help them. Like, yo, what is wrong with y'all? This shit is nasty, and they believe this shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're called moral panics for a reason. Like, it's just, I don't know, like
moral Ding-A-Lings.
Yeah, man. I don't. And I want to be as optimistic as I can, but again, like, it's just, we're dealing with
idiots.
We're dealing with idiots, man.
Dog,
at the end of the day,
fucking,
we are. And the thing is, and it sucks. The issue too is that, like, it's not like they're not being genuine in their belief. Like, they genuinely believe that they're saving lives by banning abortion. Like, a lot of, right? Like, they're passionate about this, right? Like, they have, again, I personally believe they're wrong, right? But they truly believe they're doing the right thing. Like, and that's the hardest part about it. Like, you can't convince somebody to stop doing something if they truly believe they're doing the right thing. If they truly believe that they're saving lives, like, no amount of Facebook posts and memes can ever really convince these people that they're wrong. And that's why we need laws, right? That's why we need laws that are based on facts or the most current science available. But if people aren't out here putting elected officials that believe that into office, man, it's kind of a moot point. Like, we're always going to have these issues.
But there's a lot of responsibility. There is responsibility on everybody to do this shit. So I'm like, to be informed and to say the piece. Before we move on to a topic that I can't wait to hear your opinion on, why the fuck can't people just leave religion out of shit?
I mean, because
why is it whenever they're like, and why is it whenever they're like, God said this? It's like, okay, you know what? You realize Christianity really is not that old, right? In the grand scheme of things, it's one of the younger religions.
Yeah, but these people believe the earth is like 6,000 years old. So, for them, Christianity has been around for 1/3 of the earth's existence, right? So, it doesn't. Everybody has their moral compass. Everybody has something that they go by that kind of forms their moral worldview. And if you grew up as a Christian and you believe that stuff, like, it's going to be part of like some things, how you see the world, right? And people are going to be able to manipulate that.
See, I was raised. I wouldn't say I was raised Christian, but some of my more formative, one of my more malleable years, I was in church, Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes a lot of this shit just didn't seem right to me. Like, you know what I mean? I remember someone asking my uncle, who was a pastor of the church, how he would react if two men decided to to join the church. And he would say, yes, that's fine, but they have to denounce their homosexuality. And even in those days where you drop the F-bomb and like being gay was wrong. Even in those days, I'm like, that seems very close-minded. Like, you know what I mean? It seemed odd. Like, you know what I mean? In a lot of the stuff in the Bible, and a lot of things that I've read and like heard and I'm listening to, I'm like, it doesn't feel right. Like, you know what I mean?
I know, right? I mean, like,
I'm talking to
yo,
you.
You preach it to the choir, bro.
I see what
like
you're saying.
I grew up in this. I grew up like, again, my mom wasn't like super strict, right? But you know, I grew up 7-day Adventist, and I mean, since I could remember, I'm like, no, all right. So God created the world in 7 days, and He started with specific types of animals. When did dinosaurs exist? Like things like that. Like,
so,
you know, like I've like, it's not. I'm talking like 6-7 years old in our form of Sunday school. They call it Sabbath school. Like I'm like asking these questions, and I'm fortunate enough. Like the people that like the Sabbath school teachers, they, you know, they didn't make me feel like an asshole for saying it. Like you know, for whatever reason throughout my life, like people allowed me to ask these questions. I mean, now I don't. I mean, I'm agnostic, atheist, I don't know, whatever you want to call me. But
you know me, I'm agnostic.
I think we had different experiences, but I think we ended up kind of like in the same space, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Probably why I don't have like the type of hatred towards Christianity for somebody with my beliefs.
My anger towards Christianity is just, my bias is it's there on display. I've told people, like, yo, I can't stand Christianity. Like,
yeah, it's just that religion in particular.
Yeah,
as opposed to other ones.
I don't know enough about the other ones to despise them. Yeah. I know Christianity, and I hate that shit. Yeah, there's a fucking bunch of assholes in that fucking religion. They hate a bunch of people, but then tell anyone not to hate them. Like, oh, you shouldn't hate anybody, but fuck the gays. You shouldn't hate anybody, but fuck you if you want to get an abortion. Shut the fuck up. No, all sound like fucking idiots, man.
I mean, I'll say this: I'm not trying to defend. Like, listen, I am who I am. I ain't trying to defend people I don't know, but I will say this: I know a lot of people from different religious backgrounds or not religious backgrounds, and I could tell you there's assholes across those groups, and there's really good people across those groups as well. So I don't know if it's necessarily a Christian thing. I think that, especially with the abortion topic, like it's really again, I keep, you know, pinnacle of political perfection, but that's really what it is. Like, it's politics taking advantage of certain beliefs, right? It's opportunistic political entrepreneurs. I think that's what they call. I think that's the close to the term that they use. But you know, you try to get as much people to agree with your position, and you use different strategies to do that. So the thing about religion is that these, you know, people that tend to be religious, they look at the world through their religious worldview, and if you can convince them that God thinks a certain way, or a percentage of them that believe that God thinks a certain way, you can get them to do anything, right? Because if God says it, then it's ultimately true. So if you can convince them that God believes that life starts at conception, you know, they're going to believe it. But that's only because you could take advantage of that specific belief in Christianity. But you could do it in any avenue. You could do it to people that are atheists too, if you find out what they believe to be true.
Oh God!
Right?
Like, anybody who, I feel like Chris Rock did. Anybody who's 100% one way or another is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the next subject, there's a clip from the almighty and prophetic George Carlin that I wanted to play about abortion. Something he said like way back when.
Why is it that most of the people who are against abortion are people you wouldn't want to fuck in the first place?
I said this before and I say it again. Tommy Loren can still catch it though.
Who?
Was it Tommy? Tommy Loren, whatever it is.
I'd beat, but like it'd be a hate fuck. Like, you know, I'd fucking just because.
Those are some of the best ones.
So he goes on to say, boys and conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They will do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own. Pro-life conservatives are so obsessed with the fetus from conception to 9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No nothing. No neonatal. No daycare. No Head Start. No school lunch. No food stamps. No welfare. No nothing. If you're preborn, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked. And then, this is my favorite part. Conservatives don't give a shit about you until you reach the military age.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, Trick Daddy got his ass up in the air getting it eaten.
I mean, I'm with him. I'm with him. I mean,
someone said if you said Lil Nas X's name 5 times in the mirror, a little Boosie pops up.
Yo, he is obsessed with Lil Nas X.
Yo, ain't he though?
That is crazy.
Oh God.
Yo, leave that little gay boy alone, man. Yo, he ain't doing nothing.
I love fucking Lil Nas X.
Oh,
that dude.
I don't listen to his music, and it has nothing that's just not my vibe. But yo, I love that kid. Yo, I love it. I love everything about him. Yeah, to be honest with you.
And you know what's funny? I didn't really like Old Town Road. It's okay, like you know what I mean. But it's not really something that like I'm like going to. But I'm
not bumping that in the car.
Call Me by Your Name. I fucking love that song.
I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you.
It's Call Me by Your Name.
All right, I'll take your word for it. I'll say, don't ever do that again. Don't ever sing it. Don't ever sing to me like that.
Don't make me kiss you on the forehead again. All right. We got to get going a little bit, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Michael K. Williams and his untimely passing at the age of 54. I don't know if you have personally and it's funny because we just had this conversation a couple weeks ago about his influence in the hip hop community as Omar in the early 2000s, when people used to call people like homo thugs, and everyone would be like, "You keep saying that," and someone will fuck your ass up, and then what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? And so he put it out there that just because someone's gay doesn't make him any less tough than anybody else. If anything, everyone was legitimately scared of him. And we just had this conversation, which was kind of funny in itself, that soon after that he ends up passing, and then from him and the stuff he did in Lovecraft Country was absolutely great. And, he just kind of seemed to pop up all over the place. And one of the things I always kind of go on is when you can look at someone and they have nothing bad to say about you. I can't remember anybody saying anything about him that was mean or nasty or angry, and I thought that
50 Cent has entered the chat.
Fuck him, man. I wasn't even gonna bring it up. I wasn't even gonna bring it up, man. But fuck him. I get that sometimes, when you feel for example, if Fuckboy 45 died tomorrow, do you know what I'm not gonna do? I'm not gonna go on Twitter talking shit about it. That's just me. I don't give a fuck enough about somebody. If I don't like you, I don't like you. That's just the way it is. I don't feel the need to throw somebody's name under the bus. And I'm even debating if I even want to bring it up, what he said. Y'all can look it up. But he said some really nasty shit. And then he, not only does he double down on it, he tripled down on it.
Yeah.
And, and it's he thinks, but this is what he does. That's what 50 Cent does. He just makes it a point. He's been a troll forever. That's just who he is. It's just what he does. And
that's how his career blew up.
Yeah, how to rob an industry.
Mm-hmm. And then he made millions trolling Ja Rule.
Yeah. But it's just one of those random things where it's just okay, I don't follow him. I'm going to unfollow everybody. But, that's just what he does. But, when you're in a situation like this, the man just died. His body's not even cold yet. You're, making these jokes and shit like that, using it to, promote your TV show. That's some nasty shit, man. That's some real nasty fuck shit, even if you don't like a person.
Apparently it has some pretty nasty history, though, or something.
That's right.
Involved.
Yeah.
Somebody who attempted to murder one of 50s boys or something like that. So it doesn't matter.
I just like, but again, that's just me. And like, I don't know how I would feel if someone who tried to kill one of my friends died. I don't know how I'd react. I'd like to say that I would be more tolerant, but I can't say I would. Like, you know what I mean? As people like to say, I'm an emotional Scorpio. You know what I mean? So who knows how I would react? I could react the same way he did, and then get the same kind of flack that 50 got.
Yeah.
But like, just from the outside looking in, and just from me being a spectator, the shit he said was really fucking nasty.
That sucks, man. Like, I don't know. I thing I remember most about. Hold on a second. The thing I remember most about Michael is his range, right? Like, he was Omar in The Wire, but he was also like a funny ass professor in Community, right? He was a dad struggling with his homosexuality in the 60s in Lovecraft country. Like, he was just a genius in front of the camera.
If you haven't, for those who haven't, Rosario Dawson probably still has it on her Instagram page, but there was a conversation that he posted. Michael K. Williams, it was all with himself, and it was three different characters he portrayed, and then himself. And he started talking about being typecast. And the conversation he had with himself, and it was really, really deep about the idea of, like, you know what I mean? Like, he goes, if I'm a cat, then I'm a cat. And then he goes, so what if you're a cat? You're a cat that wants to be an iguana. Why can't you be an iguana? And it was like it was a real deep conversation that he had with himself about. And for me, it hit a little deeper because it was the idea of, are you who people say you are? Are you destined to be the stereotype? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who got out of the hood who, quote unquote, shouldn't have been. You know what I mean? Like, you look at let's take 50 Cent, for example. By all intents and purposes, he should be dead. If we're being completely honest about it, like, imagine, like, Jay-Z could have been dead. Beyonce, like, she's from Houston. Like, there's no guarantee that she doesn't like cross the street and get a shot. Or the amount of like black or Latin celebrities or like millionaires who just happen to get out of their like current situation and make it out better for themselves. You know what I mean? So when he started getting into that conversation, I started like reflecting on who I am and who I want to be, and just like the idea of, like, for someone who suffers from suicidal thoughts, and like the idea of like hopelessness and feeling that like there are certain things that like you feel like you can and can't do, you start to really, he like kind of forced me to look at things a different way. I believe the report said that it was overdose, an overdose of fentanyl, which shout out to one of my friends who will remain nameless, who posted some information about how much fentanyl it really does take to kill you. It's barely a dusting. Like, so, like, even something as small as that can kill somebody, which leads to the idea of, like, you know, we don't know what somebody's going through.
Is that how he died?
I believe it was a fentanyl overdose.
Really?
I'm gonna look it up because I want to make sure that I'm not like. Yeah, just months before he was found dead of a suspected heroin overdose. So, like, that's either, like, regardless of what it was, man, it's sad. Like, however it happened, he's like they said, he started going to therapy after Lovecraft Country, and you know, when you're like, to be engulfed in that much like hatred, I'm not, like, you know what I mean, it would really like hurt anybody. He played a black gay man in the 50s or 60s.
I believe it's the 60s.
You know what I mean? So, like, having to like play that kind of character, and then like just like the hiding everything, and just who knows what kind of like shit that can take on a person. So it's something else, man. Like I don't have like words for it. Like that one hit me hard because like I really appreciate everything he did. He was only 54 years old. He had a lot of life. I thought he had a lot of life left to give. The outpour, and another one of those things like when you see an outpour of people who really feel a certain way. And it may not have been to the magnitude that happened with Chadwick Boseman, but it almost kind of did feel like, and maybe it was just the black community that I saw who really were taken aback and like really hurt by his passing.
Yeah, I know seeing that. Like I saw it just came up on my phone. Michael K. Williams dead. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like it was just so like out the blue. Like I mean, you never expect anybody to pass away, but it's just like.
Well, like I woke up, checked one of the group chats, and I was just scrolling through it. It said Michael K. Williams. I was like, yo, come on, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was
That's crazy.
He's one of those dudes, man. He'll always be known as Omar from The Wire, but like I said, his character was more than just some dude who was just. It wasn't just some stick up kid or some stick up dude who threw The Wire. For me, I think he meant a lot to just like proving like just because you're gay doesn't mean you're not tough, or even just someone who like he talks about like not finishing school and stuff like that. But he was smart as hell. And one of my favorite moments from The Wire was he was in court, and this lawyer was getting at him, and he goes, "You're just as bad as me." And the lawyer goes, "Excuse me?" He goes, "You got a briefcase? I got a shotgun." It's like, yeah, like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
It wasn't just his action; it was his words as well, man. And he like whenever he spoke in anything he was in, it was just kind of like, oh shit. And if he was in something, you kind of wanted to see it. So, rest in peace to Michael K. Williams. And as you can see, people know he will be missed.
Rest in peace, man.
All right, sorry to end on a low note, but this has been the Old Man Wade Show. I want to thank the superior Supa Woke Javi for joining us, especially last minute because wasn't sure if I was going to have time today, but I did. We recorded, and we did our damn thing. Expect more from us. Recently, my wife's in school, so I'll actually have the time to like get.
When the cat's away, the mouse plays.
When the cat's away, the husband works. A lot of stuff that'll be going on. So you'll hear a lot more from me in Supa Woke, especially considering our days off are together. You can find me on Old Man Wade Com on Instagram and Twitter. You can find both of us on articles on oldmanwade.com.
Mm-hmm.
Just finished one on how much OnlyFans fucked up by letting reminding the creator that they hold the power. Supa Woke should be putting out another Old Man story time with Old Man Wade soon that I'm actually really proud of. I forget what that one was about, but that should be out by the time you guys hear this, hopefully. Don't forget to check us out on the Old Man Wade Show Facebook page. We're on there. We're talking shit. It's comic book stuff. We're getting back. We're getting back into posting some like random funny stuff. I'll be making more memes, things of that nature. You can find us both on the Culture Comic Book News podcast. CCBN, powered by Black Rabbit.
BlackRabbit.com.
BlaqueRabbit. We'll be recording this Saturday, actually. Hopefully, I wonder if we can go live. I think we tried it and it didn't work. I'm going to try to get Brandon on the show again, and I think hopefully this weekend we can have that conversation with Duke, Javi, myself, and another gentleman about Donda.
Donda.
All I know is Kanye is the only nigga I know who can put out a gospel album. Oh man, again, Christianity, a gospel album, but still have a diss track diss songs against Drake. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
No, Donda isn't really a gospel album, but we'll get into that.
He listed it as a gospel album. He didn't put he didn't put the Andre 3000 song on there because he swore on it. Nigga.
Everybody swore on that album.
He told someone to kiss his dick.
Everybody's sworn that album.
Yeah, but
Kanye's
it's
crazy.
a gospel
Kanye's
album.
nuts, okay? Kanye's nuts.
Kanye should lick these nuts. Actually, he ain't worried to lick these nuts. Go lick some unwanted nuts.
The hatred is strong in this one.
Fucking Ding-A-Ling head.
Damn it, Wade.